Okay. So, I already did exercise 3.5. We skipped quite a few exercises, um, mostly because, for example, 3.3 it's just too simple to make a video about it, and then 3.4, I feel like there's missing some information, and there's too much information digging that doesn't have to do exactly with programming and learning new things for programming. So we just skipped over to 3.5, and we're going to skip over the next few exercises as well because I don't see anything new that we'd be learning in these other exercises. The important thing to note about exercise 3.5 is that we do learn something new. It's just to read the UML class diagrams in a different way because now they introduced final and statics methods, or public static and final. So if the variables are in bold, it means that they're final. It means that the values are set in stone and you cannot change them. Um, they are what they are, and that's how they will be forever, basically. Um, I mean, you can change them, but not like the values are not. They can't be changed um, while the program is executed. So again, they're in cap. So variables in full capital letters are means that they're final, and then the underscore. So the line underneath the word or the variable is, or underneath the method, the line is for static. And we've learned about static before, in which case it's just so that static is used like a static method or variable. It can call other static or variables or methods and modify values, but it can't um, for non-static methods. But non-static methods can call and access and change static methods and variables, but the other way around, no. If that's my understanding. Anyways, so I just wrote this. It's not fully complete, but it's pretty much fully complete. I left a little message at the top basically saying why it's not fully complete. So we have the instance variables here. We have private integer, year, month, and day, and then we have a public. Again, these are the access modifiers: public, private. It limits the scope, I would say. Is I don't know if that's the right word. I think so. Of what can access and see the values and stuff like that. And then we have static keyword. By default, methods and variables are non-static. But if you declare them as static, then basically you're just saying that um, I think it's the other way around, right? We can go ahead and look really quick. Um, static versus. We looked the other day. It's just sometimes I get confused between the two, which is which again. But a static method is a method that belongs to a class, but it does not belong to an instance of that class. And this method can be called without the instance or object of that class. Every method in Java defaults to a non-static method without static keyword preceding it. Non-static methods can access any static method and static variable without creating an instance of the object. Let us clarify differences. So a static method can only access static data members and static methods. Right, so it's like I said, non-static methods and variables, whatever, they can access static methods and variables, but static methods and variables cannot access um, or call non-static methods. Anyways, and we have the final keyword. So really static, it kind of like it's just like it limits, I guess, in a way, what can access the methods or so like that. Basically, it just limits what can access the methods and see the change the values of the variables so that. And we have the final keyword, which just means again it whatever the data is in the final variables, the variables which have the final keyword, they're just set in stone. You can't change them while running the program. Outside of the program, you can change them, but while the program is running, you can't change any of the data that's are values stored inside of those variables. Uh, so, I mean, you guys probably, if you guys have been following my videos, you already know what's going on here. We have arrays of type integer, two, and then we have an array no, two arrays of type string and one array of type integer. And we have the initialize with the values. And then we have the method um, of type boolean, which must return a true or false value. Is leap year, which they ask. And it just checks if the year is a leap year or not. If it is a leap year, it'll return true, and if it's not, it'll return false. And then here we have the is valid date, which you'll be using in other methods as well to make sure that the date is valid when they're trying to change this or set the values for the dates. Um, so here what I did is I initialized an integer I with the value 0, which I'm going to be using here for the for loop to iterate. And then we have data structure here, hash map, which is basically the same as Python's dictionary. It's just a key that when you get the key, it pulls a value associated with that key. So you can have you can set the key, it can be a string or it could be an integer, and you can set the value as a string or integer. The first type here, the first type is the keys type, and then the second type is the value associated with the key. Um, and again, hash map is data structure for Java. We have the name of the hash map, and then we create a space in memory for the hash map. So the new keyword, that's what it does. And um, we just repeat the same word syntax as before, where we have the hash map and just the same two types. I think you can also not enter the types again for the second one. You don't have to, but I do it just because I like to, I guess. Um, and then we have the for loop here, where what it's doing is it's for every days in the month. So for every days in the month in the days in a month array of integers. So for every days in each month, I should rename this days in each month. Should I rename it? Or actually, next would make more sense if it was max days. Max days. So for every max days in days and months, we will go through this loop. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Because there's 12 months, right? So this loop will iterate 12 times. I++ means that the I the integer I here will be incremented by 1 every time we go through the loop. And we immediately set it to 1 at the beginning of the first loop because there's no such thing as a 0 month. The first month is January, right? So it starts at 1. So what we do is I should rename this to day, is it, no, month. So I'm just gonna call it month because it makes more sense. Actually, we're already using that here, so we have to change this to month. What should I do? X, I guess. Whatever. So what's happening here is we're um, calling the put method for the hash map here that we created here, month value to days, and we're putting a new into one of its indexes, if that makes sense, the key and the value associated with the key. So the month will be the first month, right, January, and then the max day will be the first um, whatever values in the first index of the days and month array, which is 31, right? We're starting with January, so 31, and February is 28, right? So that's what's happening. So month one, month one will be associated with 31 days. So now we know that anytime if the month that's being passed is 1, then that means that we can um, use the get method for the hash map, get the key. Oops, 1 second. What we can do is we can get the key. So actually, we don't. This we can literally just use this dot month, which is what we are actually supposed to do. Um, was this before? I must have. Why did I set it as I? That's weird. Does that not work? Oh right, this is a static. That's why. No, it's just month. I don't know why. I don't know what I'm thinking right now. Anyways, so yeah, again, remember because it's a static, it's a type, it's like it's static. We can't use like instances like I was doing earlier. So we use the get method for the hash map, and it'll get. So here it takes the key. So whatever month the person is passing here to this method. So if it's let's say 2, which is February, it'll it will find it will get the key that's 2 and the value associated with the 2 key 2 is the the max days of the month, right, which is 28. um, so that's what's happening here. And then we just have some if else conditions to make sure everything's right. We're using the is leap year to make sure to check if it's not a leap year or if it is a leap year down here. We're using the hash map again here, and then we have the constructor here, which is a parameterized constructor. And the user is passing 3 values, year, month, and day as integers. And then we make sure to check if the date is valid. We're checking the year, the month, and the day. Check if it's valid. If it's equal to true, then that means that it's valid. So then we can set those values. Otherwise, we throw a new illegal argument exception. And then we have the set date method, which we're checking if the date is valid, which we're passing. If it is, then we can set the values. Otherwise, we just say it's not valid. Then we have the getter methods, and we have the setter methods, which are pretty much the same as the set date methods, just for each individual portion of the year of the date, which is the year, month, and day. Then we have the toString method, where I'm also using two hash maps to do pretty much the same thing as I did earlier with the isValidate method, where I'm just associating a key with a certain value inside with the final variables of this class. So we can go ahead and look at it here. So we have int day value, int month value, and we initialize them with 0. These are going to be used to iterate through the for loops, each individual for loop. We have an int find day of week, and we're using Gauss's formula for finding the day of the week. And what I'm speaking about is the day of the week, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, like that. And its formula is like so. This is the formula right here. I don't even think did I even use this? I didn't even use it. Oh, that's right. I didn't even use it. Did I? Anyways, it says I didn't use it right here. It's not used. Anyways, so I might have to look into that after I'm done explaining what's going on here. So we have the two hash maps, both having key values of type integer, and then the values associated with the key is of type string. So here for every day name in days, so days has the day names. For every day name in days, right, in days, the day value is incremented plus 1. So now the day value is 1, right? And what we're doing is we're storing 1 here as the key, and then the day name, right, is the day name inside of days, and the first day name is Sunday, right? So we take Sunday and we store it, we associate it with the first day of the week, I guess. Because I guess the first day of the week starts on Sunday. It's not supposed. I always thought it starts on Monday, but according to this exercise, it starts on Sunday. So whatever. Um, so Sunday is associated with the first day is associated with a Sunday. The second day is associated with a Monday. Like that's what's happening. And then month here is for every month name in months, right? So every month name in months. So Jan, February, March, all those. So basically, we're going through every element in the days array, right? Is basically what's happening. We're just giving it the name, day name, to make it more understandable. The day value is incremented, and then we're using the hash maps put method to put the integer day value, which is in the first loop is 1, and the day name in the first loop is the first element in the days array, which is January days. Did I choose days? Um, Months, right? I think I was looking here. Anyways, months, right? Okay, so I was looking at the wrong one. So I meant month value and month name. So for every month name in months, The month value is incremented by 1 every time we go through the loop at the beginning. And the month value is set as the key. The month name is set as, well, the value associated with the key, right? Month name starts as January. So the first month is January, right? First month is January. And then we're just using the string format, the string classes format method to format the output here the way we want it to be. So we have the format specifiers here, string, decimal, so for integers, string, decimal for integers. And here we're using the get method for the hash map, day value to name, this dot month. So whatever instance calls this method, its month, we're gonna get the which one was this again? Day value to name. So we're gonna get the day name associated with the day value. Um, and we know that day 1 is day name, which is the first one is, for example, if the month is 1, then uh, we should know that it's January. Actually, this is day name. It's day name of days. So Sunday. But what we need to do is, I forgot to use this. I need to use this to determine what actual day of the week it is. Um, I think this Gauss's formula to determine the day of the week is supposed to return a value from 1 to 7, because there's 7 different names for the days of the week, right? And the first one is Sunday. And that's why I use this hash map so that I could get the value with a key. So like um, if this formula returns uh, well, it should I'm assuming it's supposed to return 1 to 12. I haven't tried it yet. But then we can use the um, hash map and find day of week. Okay, so this should actually be find day of week. Find day of week. And that should that should basically finish this method. So this, again, it'll use the instance that calls this method. It'll get its day, its month, its year. It'll perform the formula, the whole formula, and it'll probably return 1 to 7. And then here we'll get the value associated with the key, which is the value that's returned here. So 1 to 7, I would assume. So the keys 1 to 7 will return a um, day name, which should be Sunday to Saturday. So that's that. Um, and then we have the public my date next day. So we have to return an instance of this class, which is fine. We do that. Return this at the end of each if else condition. So again, we're using a hash map. Um, by the I was, if you're in college, I would assume by the end of the third semester, you would already have finished your data structures course. Um, I know in my third semester, I had a data structures course. Um, so here, instead of an integer and a string, we're having 2 integers, because what we're doing is, so we have the iterator here. It's called month value. And this, what it's doing is for every max day in days and months. I think we did this earlier, but so days and month, right here, it has the max amount of days in each month. So what we're doing here is for every max day, so basically every index of this array, starting from the first, we're incrementing month value, right? Because what we're trying to do is convert the month value, well, get the max amount of days associated with the month, right? So month value has been incremented by 1 every time we go through this loop. And then we have the hash map, and we're using its put method to put the month value, which if we start in this for loop, it's 1, right? So 1, and then the max day in the days of the month starts at 1 as well. The first index, which is 31, right? So down here, the first month has 31 days, is what we're saying. And then the second month has 28 days. Um, Obviously, what I'm doing is I'm checking here to make sure on this one condition where we are in this February, right? This February is the second month. On the 29th day, which means it's a leap year, um, then we set the day to 1, and then we set the month plus 1. And yeah, that's what we do in here. We're just having the if-else conditions for the months. Like if it's the 12th month, which is December, and the day is that's being passed here, or actually the day associated with the instance calling this method. If its day is the max day of the month, so if we're in month 12, the max day of December is, I think, 31. So that means that we're going to the next year, so we're setting the day back to 1 and the month uh, to 1. And we also have to set the year, actually. This dot year, this dot set year 1, this dot year plus 1. But you would actually want to also make sure you check if the year is at 9,999, or yeah, 9,999, because that's the maximum we can put it. But I don't think we're gonna get there we're not gonna get there in a long time. But anyways, still, you would add that in. I'm just trying to basically use new things. If there isn't anything new that we can apply here, then it's just best that we skip over to the next exercises and stuff like that, and like only until we're learning something new. That's why I'm skipping over some exercises, because there's nothing that new that's being learned. So that's the my date class. Yeah. So probably in the next video, if we look at the site, this is exercise 3.5, the my day class. Exercise 3.6 doesn't look like it has anything new um, to learn or apply. 3.7 doesn't look like it has anything new to learn or apply either, so we're probably going to skip over to the fourth category of exercises on inheritance. So we're going to be going back to inheritance, right? Extending, I guess, classes, so that's subclass and superclass. So yeah, that's enough of my ranting. I think that's what I'm going to do from now on in these videos is I'm just going to write the whole code, and then once I'm done everything, then or for the most part, right, everything that's useful for you guys to be able to finish the rest. If I decide not to do the rest because there's no reason to, because we're just repeating the same thing, right? At some point, I'm only going to be introducing new things, and I'm just going to be showcasing the videos, the exercises being finished, and explaining what I did to finish the exercise. So take care and see you guys in the next video.